So, liberalism? You hear that word thrown around all the time, right? But what does it actually mean? It's easily one of the most influential political ideas on the planet, and it has profoundly shaped the world we live in. So, let's dig in and get to the heart of what liberalism is all about.
Think about it. Freedom, equality, your rights. These ideas feel so fundamental, don't they? Like the bedrock of our world. But for most of human history, they were not a given at all. They had to be imagined, and then they had to be fought for. And they were born from one truly revolutionary idea.
You see, liberalism didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It was a direct challenge to the old world, a world of kings, queens, and power that was passed down through bloodlines. It was this radical belief that individuals, not their rulers, should be the masters of their own lives. So the American Revolution wasn't just about a new country. It was a powerful statement about a whole new way of thinking about people in power.
Okay, so to really get a grip on liberalism, we've got to go back to the very beginning, to its original form. This is what we call classical liberalism, and it's basically the blueprint for everything that followed.
So at the very, very heart of all liberal thinking is this one huge idea: individualism. It's the belief that you, as a unique person, are the most important thing, more important than any group, any tribe, or any nation you might belong to. You are an end in yourself, not just a cog in the machine for the state or society. All right, so if the individual is supreme, what's the one thing they need more than anything else? Well, freedom, of course. And for these early liberals, freedom meant something very specific. They called it negative freedom. The key word there is from. It's all about freedom from things, from an overbearing government, from the church telling you what to believe, from anyone else telling you how to live your life. It's the right to be left alone.
You can probably see how this leads to a pretty particular idea about what government should do, right? For classical liberals, the state is what they called a necessary evil. Yes, it's necessary to protect us from harming each other, but it's also seen as the biggest potential threat to our liberty. So its power has to be kept to an absolute minimum.
Now, this quote from the philosopher John Locke might sound a little contradictory at first. Where there is no law, there is no freedom. But this isn't a call for chaos or anything. The idea is really simple. You need just enough law to protect your life and your property from other people so that you can actually be free. Without that basic protection, you don't have freedom, you just have anarchy. And speaking of Locke, here he is. I mean, this guy is a true giant of political thought. His writings laid the intellectual groundwork for so many of these game-changing ideas about rights, consent, and why government power has to have limits. Okay, but here's where the plot thickens. The story doesn't end there. The world started changing, and changing fast. And that original blueprint for liberalism, it was about to be put to the test, big time. It turned out that just leaving people alone wasn't always enough. Think about the Industrial Revolution. On one hand, it created unbelievable wealth, but on the other, it also led to widespread poverty, terrible slums, and just brutal working conditions for millions. And that hands-off approach, that so-called laissez-faire capitalism that classical liberals championed, it just had no answers for these massive new social problems. This whole situation forced a new generation of liberals to ask a really tough, really important question. What good is being free from government interference if you're so trapped by poverty or sickness or a lack of education that you can't actually do anything with your life? What if you need help to be truly free? And you can see the new answer taking shape in posters just like this one. This represents a huge shift in thinking. The idea started to grow that maybe the state has a role beyond just protecting your property. Maybe it should actively help people overcome the biggest obstacles in life, leading to the birth of the idea of social welfare. This quote from a hugely influential report in Britain just nails the whole idea of this new modern liberalism. It's saying that freedom isn't just some abstract concept you read about in a book. It has to be a practical reality. True liberty requires a basic level of security and opportunity. A starving person isn't thinking about their rights, they're thinking about their next meal. So there you have it. This fork in the road basically created two different strands of liberalism that we still have with us today, classical and modern. They might share the same family name, but they prescribe very different things for society. So let's put them head to head. Really, it all boils down to how you define that word, freedom. For the classical folks, it's all about negative freedom, freedom from interference. The state just needs to get out of your way.
But for modern liberals, the goal is positive freedom, the freedom to achieve your potential. And to do that, you might actually need the state to step in and help.
And of course, that different take on freedom leads to a totally different view on the role of the state. The classical night watchman state is minimal. Its only job is to protect our rights and enforce contracts. But the modern enabling state, that's a whole different ballgame. It takes a much more active role, providing things like education, healthcare, and welfare to help people flourish.
This chart here really lays out the whole divide. You can see how the classical liberal view of humans as basically self-interested and rational leads straight to wanting a minimal, night watchman state and a hands-off, laissez-faire economy. On the flip side, the modern liberal belief that people need a helping hand to really achieve self-realization, well, that justifies an enabling state that manages the economy and provides a social safety net.
Okay, so after looking at all these pretty major differences, you might be wondering, are these even part of the same ideology anymore? Do they have anything in common? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Deep down, they still share the same fundamental DNA. At the end of the day, both classical and modern liberals agree on the really big stuff. The individual always comes first. Government has to be based on the consent of the people. Everyone deserves equal civil rights and a shot at success. And, crucially, the power of the state must have its limits. Even modern liberals, who want a more active state, are not arguing for total government control of the economy.
So ultimately, what we're looking at isn't two enemies locked in a fight to the death. It's more like a family argument. It's an ongoing debate about the best method to achieve the exact same ultimate goal, creating a society where every single individual has the best possible chance to live a good life, however they define it.
And that brings us right back to today. In our world, the 21st century, with all its complex challenges like AI, climate change, and global pandemics, what does it truly mean to be free? Is it simply about being left alone by the government? Or does real freedom mean having the support you need to navigate an increasingly complicated world? That's the question that continues to drive the liberal debate today.